back to Obsessive Sneaker Disorder, the OG Sneaker Talk Show. We are here. It is the sole proprietor, D. Wells, and the man who's just ridiculous, Steve Ridiculous Gordon. We're back with another one where it's just us because um, we
We
act,
can.
we actually
Yeah,
can,
yeah.
and, and,
It's
and
our
we like
show.
the fact that we can.
We
You
can.
know?
No doubt. No doubt.
And to
Well,
quote the late Morton Downey Jr., it's our show.
oh wow, they're gonna have to look
How
that one
many,
up.
how many
That
people are gonna
takes
have
it
to
back.
Google that? Exactly.
That takes it
Yeah.
back.
Do you remember whenever
Good.
he got
In the
into
comments, tell us if you had to Google that.
do you remember when he used to get into it with people and then his like trademark comeback was, and if you don't like it, you can get the hell off my
Yeah.
show. That
But like,
always stuck with me.
so we could talk about and make reference to all these different shows. Like, I hit someone the other day, and this was a millennial person. I hit him with like, "What you talk about, Willis?" And they looked at me like,
Ah,
"Who's
Might
yeah,
be
Willis?"
that's a
about Willis.
way
And I was
back.
like, "Yeah, I get it. I get it.
That's a
You,
way
you
back.
you have no clue, but that's all right. I'll take the old man, uncle,
Uh,
OG status. I'm cool with it because we've lived long enough thus far. We got a lot
yeah,
more.
yeah,
Like, we can pull out references from so many shows, from Good Times to,
yeah. Yep,
I
yep,
mean, 21 Jump Street. I mean, yeah, we could sit here and talk
man.
for hours about.
New York Undercover.
Oh man,
Okay,
yo, New York
okay. I've been
Undercover.
watching, man. New York Undercover is wild. Like Hulu and Peacock have been
Yes.
popping old shows into my timeline, and
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like, how you know that, Peacock? But then I watch it. New York Undercover was it, man.
Think
Yep.
about how stylish they were and how much they infused hip hop. I mean, that was
Yeah,
what, Andre Harrell, right? Was that
Yeah,
Andre
it
yeah.
was
Harrell was the
some of those
Yeah.
executive
things.
producer
Yep.
behind it? I mean, man, Malik Yoba. I mean, he had all the ladies going crazy
Yoba,
before
Yoba, that was
Great
his
Alpha.
moment, man.
Yep.
That was his moment. Malik
Uh,
Yoba, that was his
he had
moment.
leather and Tim's, right? Carhartt and leather.
All
Yep.
day, all day. Ball
Man,
head, yeah, all day.
yeah.
The irony of us talking about this now and some of the trends that people sort of adopted from those shows is it was sort of a spin cycle, right?
Mm,
Of the
Right.
TV shows and the actors in them being a reflection of what was on the street in order to inject a level of authenticity into the shows.
yeah.
But then the perception was that those same actors who were dressing like that were the ones setting the trends, which is wrong, right? So,
Right, right.
um, and I have this conversation often around Run DMC
Mm,
because people often say Run DMC is usually the beginning of, you know, what happened with the superstar when I kind of make it known the common fact that, yeah, that was a important, like very pivotal moment in the shift from sneakers just being made for athletes. But what happens if when Run DMC is in Madison Square Garden and tells everybody to put their Adidas in the air, nobody has them,
yeah.
Right,
Talk about a moment that would have just landed like a
right,
dead penny.
right?
right.
So you
Yeah,
kind of have to
yeah,
already know if you're Run DMC that this was already happening. It was already out here like this, and you needed to
yeah,
make
yeah,
sure
yeah.
that other people found out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are capturing a moment in culture, not starting one.
Yeah,
Mm,
Chuck D says it best all the time. When he has the description of what hip hop is, it's the CNN, right? It's reporting
Right,
yeah.
what's happening among us for you.
right,
You don't get to tell us what our news is in
Right.
our community. Our news is our news that we tell to you. Our stories are our stories that we tell to you. You don't get to tell us what our stories are. And I think that's where we kind of got lost and where we began to have the conversation last week, right?
Yeah.
Was
right,
the difference between rules of culture and rules of marketing and the gray
right.
area that exists between the two of them now.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it feels like with the way things are going right now, the rules of marketing are in charge right now, even though it's a war. It's really a war between rules.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you guys feel
And
about
it's a war. It's a war of attrition. Where no
Yes.
one's ever going to win that war. It's just going to shift balance on what's leading what.
Yeah.
I
Mm,
think we are deep in a cycle of marketing theming like reality.
Mm,
mm,
It started with reality TV years ago. That was the beginning of that cycle of watching media and thinking it's real. Like, remember the argument of, is the WWE real or
yeah.
scripted? Is Real Housewives, real or scripted? Are the Kardashians truly doing that thing? And it was obvious. It was obvious that it was scripted, but the more and more people got engulfed in the script themselves because it was reality TV, then you're following it, and those people began to act as if.
Yep.
So the Kardashians' whole shtick is based off of their earlier scripted reality.
mm,
Their life was never like that.
Yeah.
And so we now
Mm.
we're deep
What
in
you-
the cycle where now we don't even question it. We simply react to it. Social
Yeah.
media is that. Kids with backgrounds like our natural backgrounds, shoes and kicks and whatnot that we really own. I know a ton of people who are sitting in front of a crafted studio to shoot their social imagery, and then they basically pay rent to get that background. It's
mm.
not real, but the
Yep.
perception is, oh, he's on it, he's got stacks, he's got this. And so then they move out into the world and have their reality shaped by the script.
Right.
I think of Truman Show,
Mm,
and how,
Yeah.
or Wag the Dog, right? I mean, we can make so
Yup.
many references to movies or TV shows and stuff like that. And what's happening right now is just that, and you said it so succinctly. Like, is it reality, or is it more so just trying to gather or garner attention? Because marketing has become
Yeah.
the new attention, right? Like, because we're
Yeah.
inundated with so much media, and it's so easy because of smartphones and tablets and everything. What we're competing for, all of us, because we are all reporters. We're all, the CNNs, the reporters of the world. Everyone wants their 15 seconds of fame, or to be famous, or to be influential, when we all are as human beings. But we're trying to get people's attention. We're basically trying to say, look at this pen, and
Right.
don't look at what's happening over here, because over here is the reality. But this is really what I want you to focus on. And
mm,
we've seen that
Yeah.
so much. I know, you know, Paper, you talked about
Yeah.
this on the previous episode about the panel that you went to. And again, we're talking about influencer marketing in the world of streetwear, fashion, sneakers.
mm.
And we know the landscape has changed drastically. It seemed like as soon as we hit 2000, it changed. And then when we hit around like 2003, 2004, it changed again. And then obviously when we came on the scene in '07, we changed the scene royally too. We were well, well before, our time with podcasting and just reporting, right? We
Yep.
were just that.
Yeah.
We were reporting the culture.
Yep.
People
Yeah.
sat, listened, watched,
Yeah.
learned
Oh.
from this show as well as
Yeah.
stole.
Yeah.
You know what? We know it. They know it.
Yeah.
Will they
Yeah.
ever, shout us out and publicly say that they stole this idea or stole this design or whatever from us? No, we don't expect them to, right? But
Right.
when we see things, we're able to call it out. And that's one of the things I know I always appreciate about y'all, and I love about y'all, and I love about our show is we keep it authentic to the point where some brands, these companies, are afraid to come and be guests on our show
Yeah.
Invite us to different events, but that's okay
Yeah.
because we're not going to sell our soul, pun intended.
Right.
So,
And I think that in 2020, that shift happened again when everybody went inside with
yeah,
COVID. And,
the Great Reset.
you know, we call it all the time, the Great Reset.
Yeah.
What happened was these companies of all kinds had to find a way to again change the narrative to what they now call user generated content,
Yeah.
which
Right.
isn't user generated because now you're planting people and telling them exactly what to do to come off as user generated, and it's not.
Planted people in footwear. There's planted people in music.
How dare they?
Figure.
How dare they?
Who knew? You know?
Yes.
I was
Yeah, man.
laughing because every time I see someone comment about Sexy Red, I'm not gonna lie, I laugh because everyone's been calling her a plant for a long time, and we know how much music has changed. There's so much money involved, and everyone's got their hands in somebody's pockets. Are there plants in user-generated content in sneakers?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh
Absolutely.
man, and I think it stopped. Like everything progresses, being called a plant is no longer a diss. Now you just got put on.
Okay.
You know, like you think Sexy Red mad that people calling her a plant? Her plays are still happening. She's still
And she's getting her
receiving
money, right?
residuals.
Right.
Yeah, she getting her bag off of being a plant. You know, and so that used to be a knock against the person who was inauthentic. And you made a good point, D, where you're like, look at this. I'm trying to get your attention. What this is the real thing.
Yeah.
Authenticity used to be closer to, you know, Fat Five Freddy. Look,
Oh,
let me get your attention.
Yeah.
And then the music was and the culture was right on the back of that.
yeah.
Now it's let me get your attention. Don't look over here. Let me set
Yeah.
a new wave of culture just with
Yeah.
the attention. So now
Right.
attention actually became the commodity.
It's like sneaker shopping with Joe LaPuma.
Oh, absolutely.
That kind of
Absolutely.
shit.
That
Absolutely.
That
that
kind of shit. You know? When
that
the cameras stop rolling and people return all the shit that they bought
Yeah. Well,
and stuff. Um, it I think that the rules of culture, like you said, ridiculous. There's always going to be a tug of war between the two because people are always trying to sell you something.
yeah.
And a lot of these footwear brands, big, small, or otherwise, have found a way to keep that machine going. When it seems
Mhm.
like it's down a little bit, put somebody else on, make them happy to receive a pair of shoes or two.
Yeah.
And
right.
here we
Yeah.
go. The cycle begins again,
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah.
have we all received free shoes? Yes. We have
Absolutely.
never been a part of that cycle
Yeah.
where we're being
Right.
expected every time we receive a box of shoes to turn the camera on, turn the ring light on, go live or produce something and edit it real quick and throw it up. We've never been asked to do that.
Right.
And
And
a lot of
that's
people, the cycle, it's wash, rinse, repeat in terms of when we wear out one influencer and
yeah.
we've given them enough and their content seems a little tired, we need to find another one.
Yeah.
Let's send them a few boxes.
Yeah.
Now let's
Absolutely.
send somebody else
That's
some more over
absolutely
in this
true.
part of the country.
That's one thing I like about Jacques, and he stayed
Mhm.
authentic to who he is from the beginning. I
Yeah.
mean, what you see on
Yeah.
camera, you also get him in real life in person.
Right.
He's steadily
Yeah.
built. I mean, he's not afraid to talk about his struggles and how it's changed and stuff like that. So I love watching his content and reviews. I mean, even
Even just his format, like
exactly.
he had that manic energy. I remember first watching him thinking like, damn, that's annoying. Like, turn it down, bro. But then as you see, that's really him. That's really
That's
his
him.
energy. And it really does set him apart from all the copycats.
Exactly. And look at how many people copied him and
A
even down
lot.
to the setup. Like
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's the same thing. I mean, in a different space,
Yeah.
but we can make the relation. Look at Marquise Brown and what he's done in the world of
Yeah.
tech and his review.
Yeah.
I mean, from
Yeah.
everything from, of course, he reviews every piece of thing from be it cars to smartphones and whatnot. And he's built a career, right? He's built
Yeah.
a following
An
around it.
empire even.
True. I mean, he's probably up there, you know, probably sitting right under Mr. Beast or somebody at this point in his career.
Yeah,
So
because he's peaked when he got included in the Apple keynote. He's
yeah,
sitting in the audience and they pulled one of his quotes for the keynote. Even he was like, I had no idea they were going to do that. This is
right.
kind of a, I hope it's not a jump the shark moment because my authenticity as a reviewer is now
Yeah,
in question when I get included in the keynote.
exactly. Exactly.
Yes, it
I mean,
is.
that's
Yes, it is.
like when we start talking about
Um,
sneakers, right? And we start talking about like authentic storytelling in the sneaker. I mean, because we've seen and we've lived long enough where we've seen things come in cycle. You know, the whole retro craze, it's phenomenal to see. I always tell people I love retro sneakers. I love seeing all the different ones that are out there. But at the same
Yeah.
time, if you take a story that's not authentic and you try to spin it, we see through that. And
Oh, in a
and guess
heartbeat.
what? We vote with our wallets. We vote with oh, that's not the real deal. Like that's not the
Right.
real story behind that. Like, I'll give you an example. D Brown, right?
yeah.
And one of the things I like what Reebok did is when they put out, right, the no look
Yeah.
1991 Slam Dunk
Yep.
Champion, and they put out this sneaker. The whole pump up and air out campaign where they went straight at Nike. They were not afraid,
Straight at him.
straight
Yep.
at them, right? I mean, authentic moment in time is when he bent down and pumped up his sneakers before doing that dunk.
Right.
Unscripted, unplanned for. I already had the home court advantage in Boston, you know, which is crazy. You haven't seen another NBL star in Boston because of the damn weather. Um, but nonetheless, this sneaker, I mean, we know, like we would see this sneaker at every outdoor court from the East Coast to the West Coast and everywhere in between. Black
Yeah.
top above the rim, authentic storytelling. We
Yep.
saw it in movies, right? I mean,
Yep.
yeah. So
White men
And
can't jump.
it's those moments. Yeah. White men can't
see that?
jump. Even how Woody Harrelson tied him. You had people on the court double socked and loose
Double
lacing.
side.
Like, yeah. He was like right down
Oh
to it.
man.
Like it was
Yeah.
that. And I think that's the unspoken thing that people feel, but they can't put their finger on when they say, oh, the
Yeah.
90s were it. No one talks about the early 2000s that way. They
No.
talk about the 90s that way because the marketing and the way it cross-referenced or crossed over with actual culture was so close that for a brief moment in time, our media was authentic.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
And people can
Yeah.
feel that. People can feel that. And then from there, it
Yeah.
began to separate again. Like you
Where
said, when we're looking at people who wear a certain pair of shoes, they have love for a certain retro, and I'm looking at them and I'm just like, I know you don't really love that shoe. You're not really into that shoe. You may have
Mhm.
caught even the second wave of it. Okay, I can't question your love, but you don't really understand that shoe. You caught the retro of the retro craze in that
Right.
one particular colorway. Like that blows my mind where I'm looking at that like either I'm old and that's not meant for me or you lying. One of the two.
Yep. And the people who truly know what we're talking about when it comes to footwear, we're the ones who also know how to point out some of the negative characteristics of the shoes that came out back in the day. So I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and she said, "Oh my God, I bought a pair of Sambas. Worst decision of my life. They're killing my heels. I got blisters on my heels, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the old school complaint that people used to have about Sambas. But she figured because the wave of Sambas is back, let me just go ahead and
Mm.
get a pair and like
Yeah,
jump on it
yeah,
again, not
yeah.
knowing like we have this conversation all the time. Somebody was celebrating the CB34 is coming back, and I was like, pinky toe assassinator. I don't
Oh
want
man.
that.
Yeah.
Air Jordan 4s, pinky toe assassinators. Like
I'm with you. Bo
Bro,
Jackson
like for
trainers.
real.
Yep.
when we know the
Yeah, or
characteristics of these shoes,
man,
Yeah.
Air Jordan 4s, if you wore them every day,
oh,
you're gonna put that socket, either your sock is gonna get a hole or the back of that shoe is gonna get a hole, burned
Yep.
yeah.
right through it
Going
because the
right through it.
slippage on that thing was crazy.
Yeah.
But see,
And your pinky
they
toe
don't
gonna
talk about that
and,
portion.
and your pinky toe gonna bleed.
It's gonna be gone, man.
Yeah.
Gone.
What was one of the worst paper? What was one of the worst sneakers you bought that were probably the most uncomfortable? And let's go back in the day, since we're already kind of going down this road.
Like right on top of mine, it got to be CB34s.
CB34s, okay.
It has to be like
Okay.
Barkley had
The
Barkley was running the day with that
original.
fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
for you?
That's wild.
What was the most uncomfortable
Uh,
sneaker you bought back in the day?
For me, I could not, for the life of me, even to this day, from back in the day to this day, I see them on people's feet. I'm jealous because they don't fit me. I can never find the right size, and they hurt like hell. Chuck Taylors.
Oh man, yeah, I'm with you.
I want to love that shoe. I got 3 pair. I got a gold lame pair. I wanted the they had the all gold high top, like thigh high or no, or like calf high pair from
Mm.
I want to say it was Undefeated. I'm like, why do they look so good on everybody? I cannot get this shoe to work for me, and it hurts like hell.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
I only own 2 pairs in my life, and I got rid of both of them.
Yep.
You gave them to somebody. You were like,
It's a bona fide classic, and I can't wear it.
wow,
You know, wear Chucks.
man. You know what was
Nope.
really uncomfortable for me was one of the Reebok cross trainers, and probably like I'm trying to remember which one it was. This was probably like around 1986,
The
87.
OXT or the CXT?
I think it was the CXT. I'm
Yeah,
going back and forth.
I couldn't make the CXT work.
CXT, I bought them. I wore them. I tried everything. I took insoles out. I probably even tried that stretching liquid shit that you would buy and spray
Yep,
it
yep,
and then
yep.
wear them. Horrible pair of sneakers.
Nope.
Yeah.
Horrible, like just atrocious. Like no, like it was worse than wearing church shoes. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. All them
And you
fancy
always
systems
remember
was
those.
not working.
You always remember that one
Yep.
pair that, like, no matter what, and it always looked good. Now, fast forward though, what was one of the most comfortable? Maybe I don't say right out the box, like first time where you put them on, you're like, this is
Adidas Energy Boost
Right.
2 for me.
Yeah.
Energy Boost
Yeah.
2.
Like, yeah, fresh out of the box, the Boost 2, for me, it was the Ultra Boost 2. The Ultra Boost
Mm,
2 was a perfect shoe right out of the box. Like the fit, everything was slightly better than the more hyped up one, and it was
mm,
very underhyped.
Yeah.
Um,
okay.
and on and on and on from there was a slow decline of that model.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, the Ultra Boost 2 fresh out of the
I'm
box, hands
trying to
down, that
think.
was the first shoe in a very long time that I scooped
Mm.
up multiple pairs right away. Like spent a stack on getting a bunch of them right away.
Is that you modified one of those that resembled? I'm going to say the Maryland flag. Is that the one?
Oh yeah. Okay. That one was a little bit later because the 3 was
Oh,
terrible. The one that
yeah.
I did was the when they started, it was technically the 4, and they started
Oh, okay.
calling them by the number. So I modified a 2019.
Okay. Okay. 'Cause I remember
Yeah.
that one. I thought it was so dope the way you modified it and you did like
Yeah.
a dip on it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
I did a hydro dip on the midsole. To this
Same
day, it
idea.
still works. Yeah, because I did one for paper too. Yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
model that I did was a special model to talk about mental health and anxiety because I faced some problems with anxiety and being very right brain, left brain at the same time. It was very tough. Yeah, there's a model that I did for paper.
There it is. Yep. So
There's
Yeah.
this is a
this is
2019
the
version?
this is the Energy Boost
Um,
2 from 2015.
yeah, that's the yep. And I knew how
Hmm.
much paper loved him, man. I was so stressed out doing that shoe.
Oh, look at the stripes on
Because
the
I had
inside.
to.
We
Yeah,
did
so
Chrome
what we
Stripes
did,
on it.
we did chrome stripes.
Oh
Yep.
man. Yep.
Yep.
Oh wait, hold
Yep.
my beer.
Yep.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Gotta love
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right out
Well,
the box, the Energy Boost 2 was an
Energy
amazing shoe.
Boost too. See, I like the boost. I just that boost was almost too cushiony, pillowy for me
Yeah.
Uh,
because I'm
Yeah.
such a big guy, and I just know that, and I
Right.
overpronate. So I got that. So for me, right out of the box, the sneaker that like I could put on and go walk, 5 miles and be good. New Balance 574s. I could put
mm.
that on. I just know
Hey.
exactly what I'm going to get each and every time.
Right.
Just comfortable.
Now you know
If I had to go New
what's
Balance,
a
it would be an MT 580 for me for that reason too.
Well, that
okay.
became
Okay.
the next one because when they never used to make them available in large sizes until it
Right.
was Burn Rubber did their collab, the white collar, blue collar.
Yeah.
Game
Yeah.
changer for me. I was like, yo, I have to get them. And then they actually started bringing them back, and I was surprised that they brought them back. And I was like, wait a minute, okay,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
let's
One
that roll
one
bar
for
though,
me,
man.
one for me that was surprising. And
Mhm.
it was when I was with you fellas. It was right after I was with you all. We were at H Town. And I made the dumb mistake of packing only my questions. And I had to go out to Magic the very next day.
Oh
That
yeah, that's
first day at Magic, man, my feet wanted to leave my body. I
Oh,
love my questions, but they are not. I walked a half marathon each day, 13 miles up and down the strip through
jeez.
all the convention centers. So I stopped at the shops at Aladdin, which we used to be Aladdin. Now it's like the Miracle Mile shops. And
mm.
I bought a tennis ball pair of Air Max 360s.
Mm.
And I don't know if that my foot was on fire from them questions or that shoe was that good. I would never run in it, but bro, I walked probably about 36 miles that weekend in that shoe.
Mm.
Out of pure necessity and a little bit of style. That tennis ball Air Max 360 was dope.
It's
Man.
amazing how everyone has a story about Vegas and their footwear, either making to me, it always starts with I took the wrong sneakers or shoes, and I had to buy a pair while I was out there.
Yep.
I
Yep.
made the same
Yep.
mistake the first time I went to Vegas way back in the day too. I think I was going to WSA, and I think I had Air Force Ones. Stupidly, I ran into some store. I was
Yep.
like, "Yo, give me these." I think I bought a pair of Reebok courts, just simple. Threw those bad boys on, and I was like,
I
Yep.
have to think back because when I used to hit Vegas with D and I's longtime friend, God bless the dead, Mateo, when we used to do the SEMA convention, the
"Mm,
Specialty Equipment
Mhm.
Makers Association annual in Vegas. We used to pull out all kinds of stuff to get fly because we knew we were going to go to the parties and all of that afterwards. I honestly
Right.
can't
Right.
remember complaining about any of my footwear, but I don't know if that's because we were just happy to be out in Vegas or I honestly chose the right footwear. I don't know.
Right.
I had to think back.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Mateo was size 15.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
15.
So he
Yeah, I
definitely
would.
had to pick his
Yeah,
footwear choices or make his
yeah,
selection real. Yeah.
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 But
Well, then it
Mateo was
became a
always matching
destination thing
with
for
his
me.
outfit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Mateo
for me,
probably
it
would
became a
have two
destination.
bags. One bag with clothes and one bag with footwear or sneakers.
Yep.
See, that's the thing is I would save up and I would wait. I was gonna go to Feature. I was gonna go someplace over at Caesars. And so I would show up a little bit deficient on purpose to give me a necessity and a reason to go get a new pair of kicks.
Yep. Yeah.
You were
So I mean that's how
strategizing.
I got my first pair of Vaporflies like that at Nike in Caesars.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, I would always stop over at the Miracle Mile shops because they have a massive. They at the time it was Finish Line. They had a massive Finish Line in there, and that was a
Mm.
good place to pick up some shoes. When I would go to CES, there was lots of walking because again they used as many of those convention centers as they can. So you
Yeah.
find yourself, at Project, not Pro. I'm not as Project and Magic, but at CES they spread out. So
Mm.
and I'm as much as I'm into fashion and sneakers, I could find my pocket at Magic and Project. But at CES, you got to go everywhere. And I
Yeah.
had
Mm.
clients at the time that were all over the place. So yeah, there were plenty like drop my bag, grab my coffee, hit a shop, get the new kicks, usually Adidas, and then
Mm.
go.
Go.
None of us ever had the privilege of making it to that AVN Awards, huh? I don't think our shoes would have mattered there.
No.
Right.
Oh man.
But you know what's crazy, right? The AVN used to be like right after the SEMA convention.
Oh, would it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be right after SEMA in November.
Mm.
So we would be leaving, all of the guys would be leaving, packing up to go back wherever they're from. You hit that airport, and as you're
They
leaving,
coming in.
they coming in, and you see them. You're like,
Yep.
no, where are they
Yep.
going?
Yep.
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 Man.
You know,
Talk about
Vegas.
footwear choices. Talk
Yeah.
about footwear choices.
Oh yeah, their footwear choices were the worst, like big platform heels and all that stuff. Trying to walk through airports. That's why we paid so much
Man.
attention. We were like, yo, who would wear that? Oh, you would wear. Oh,
That's
you.
wild. I love
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
love it, man.
Vegas is the thing
But
with
see, that's
footwear.
that's
Like,
man, and like everything we've been talking about is so culture rich.
yes.
And it's like that's what I remember is when getting fresh, like you said, paper, or functional but fresh. Like I ain't never gonna wear nothing. And I'm a coach, I'm an athlete. I ain't never gonna wear nothing that don't look good.
Mhm.
The function of it cannot be the only thing. And so that dictated what I was going to pack, what I was going to wear. And we should in our social media, I'm gonna send some pictures. Let's post these up. I actually have spreads of things I took in Vegas. And I would take the picture. I would unpack my bag and I would show the gear. Here's the
Yeah.
gear, here's the kicks. I would have people out in Vegas shopping. Like I'm on my way in, I'm staying over at MGM. Um, you know, I at the time it was just PayPal. I'll PayPal you. Can you pick up this, that, the other?
Mm.
And then that running joke whenever I go to Vegas, I will take my gold undefeated Pumas and I will put them in the safe. like culture, we would dictate culture with this thing, and it was long before you could even garner a social following.
Yeah.
You know, it was that
But I
culture
think
and
that's
these
where culture
those
wins. Is
yes,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That's where culture wins, where
absolutely.
we can recount all of these experiences and magnify those more often than the staged, staggered,
Right.
contrived influence post. The
Yeah,
battle has to be
yeah.
more that has to be fought on a more authentic storytelling level as opposed to just the authentic culture people just occasionally pop out to show you they're still real and still
Mhm.
got it.
So
We
in
need to
so do you
lean
think that
in
is
on
a
being
is that an age
enforced.
thing? Is that an age thing? Is that a
It is
Yeah, I
level of
would say
mindset?
partially. I would say, yeah, partially.
part of it is age, but it's
Okay.
also like I love hearing the stories from y'all because that moment in time that you had left such an impressionable memory that
Yeah.
we're talking about stuff from maybe the 80s, certainly the 90s and early 2000s. Like we could recall those moments in time. It's like going to a favorite concert and saying, I remember what songs they played in what order and how
Yeah.
they made me feel. Like you said,
Yeah.
ridiculous. How they make us feel. Like
For
we
sure.
remember walking into stores, wherever we would travel, and because we've all shared these stories. Like, no matter what city we went to, what town, whatever, we'd always find what the sneaker stores because we wanted to see what was there, with the hope that they would have something that
Yeah.
wasn't available in
Yep.
our
Yeah.
respective store.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I'm
nothing better
packing with a
than it.
hole in my bag. I'm
On
packing with a
purpose.
space in my bag on
Exactly.
purpose. I remember 2012, going all the way back to 2012. I'm in Boston at the Pru,
Oh
and I
man.
call you, and I'm like, D, I'm on the hunt. Where can I get them?
There you go.
Because the AJ12 had just dropped. The Taxi 12s dropped.
Wow,
And
that's
you were
right.
giving me all the pin drops on where to go check. And I went far and wide and couldn't find them. Come to find out, they had a pair right at the base of the Pru, in that mall connected to the
They're
Pru.
more connected to exactly.
I went in and scooped 2 pair because ain't no bankers shopping for shoes during the middle of the day. So I lucked out. But but it's those kind of things. Like I distinctly remember that moment where I gotta call my man's. He
Yep.
knows the Boston area. And if there's any Jordan that was my Jordan, it was the Taxi 12.
Taxi 12s.
And
That's true.
then,
Yeah.
what we just talked about on the last episode, being in Paris. Anyone that knows me knows my affinity for Paris. And when Paper started telling that story about where he was in relation to the Pompidou Center, then I'm like, okay, I know exactly where he's at. I know right where
Yeah.
he's at because I was at that store right across from Nike.
Yep.
Minutes after that show, I found that shoe on sale at Nike here. And so now in my mind, that's the shoe I got in Paris, even though I bought it here
Yeah.
because I had to pass on it in Paris.
Yep.
Those stories, man, they're so rich. That, like you said, how it made me feel was visceral. I can remember the air. I can remember the busy street. I can remember that there was a street dancer who had a big circle of people, and I'm like, I want to watch this, but I got to get over there to that store. I'm gonna walk on the fringe of this crowd. All the
Hmm.
details, all for a
Yeah.
pair of shoes.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got to lean in with that. We need to increase the frequency of that in order for the rules of culture to win over rules of marketing,
Yeah.
because
Right,
they can't replicate that.
No,
They can't
right,
manufacture that.
not at all.
right.
That's
Not
You know
that's
that's
like a
what
good
comes to mind
movie.
when you say that? Yeah, exactly. And what comes to mind is like we joked about long form content versus short form last time, and
yep.
how our YouTube is our videos are longer. I did a dive on that even to find out that there's a
Mm,
reward for making longer form content because short form content can't have a commercial plugged into it.
Yep.
exactly. Exactly.
So
It's true.
that audience who likes documentaries, excuse me, fellas, that audience who likes that, they're not even watching the shorter videos anyway. So when culture is telling us we don't have an attention span, we only like 15-second, Vine style up to story style up to TikTok style videos, there's a whole lot of people who cannot stand that.
Right.
So like Paper said, we have to up the frequency and turn up the volume on this kind of content because there's a lot of people who feel as if it doesn't exist.
Right. And it's people who want more of this information, who want this type of content, who want to say, I want to learn. I mean, nothing's better than going on YouTube and learning something new and you're saying, oh, okay. And then you go down the rabbit hole of the content,
Right,
whatever it is. Maybe
right.
it's fixing a part on your car, or maybe it's fixing something around the home, an appliance or something that you can, DIY, do it yourself. And then you figure it out. And then you get that eureka moment where you feel like Tom Hanks in the movie when he lit the flame and he's like, I did that. Like, yes, I did
fire.
Right? I made fire. I mean,
Right.
he's shouting out
Right.
Mr. Wilson and all that stuff, but still, it's
Right.
like watching a kid, right? You watch a kid walk.
Yeah.
Go from a crawl to a teeter-totter to eventually like the first couple steps. And when they get it, oh, like, come on, we've been there. Like, to see that happen, even in sneaker culture, we've seen so much change. Like, that's why I look at what's going on with Nike, Adidas, Reebok, New Balance, all of them. Who's leading? Who's falling behind? Who's lost their focus? Like, let's be honest. That's one of the biggest things. Like, you're chasing clout. If you chase clout, who are you? Are you really who you say you are?
Well, and it goes even to with marketing. Marketing is geared toward the now, the flavor of the moment. But one thing that it ignores or turns a blind eye to is that in this day and age, we're living longer. I'm going to be a consumer much longer than my grandparents were.
Mm-hmm.
So the stories still have to be told, even if we're talking marketing.
Yep.
And culture is about that connection. Culture is about shared moments that you can identify with. So in all of us are selfish. That's just the nature of being a human being. But in that moment, there's stories and feelings where you think about your peoples. Like I said, when I'm in France, and I'm over there for track, I'm over there coaching, I'm over there doing business. But then I think to myself, hey, yo, I remember when a few years ago, it would have been 22. My wife and I are over there. My little girl is over there. We're traveling around Europe. We get to Paris, and they had the what is it, K45? The Jordan event. The Jordan event was going on. I hit you fellas right away. Like, I wasn't going in. I didn't have a ticket. I'm headed to the Eiffel Tower. I'm gonna go get me a croissant. I'm chilling with my family. But in this moment, I was so excited. Like, fellas, I stumbled on the K.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to tell you all. To me, that's culture. That's that shared moment that builds towards something else.
Absolutely.
And just the thought that we've been halfway around the world, all of us. And when we go to these places, I'm like, yo, my man's was right here. Let me hit him up real quick,
You know what's very crazy about Paris with all three of us, right? So 2018, Dee did Paris with Capsule.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
You've been there a few times with the Olympics and other track meets and stuff.
Yep.
In 2023, I did teaching.
Yep.
All related to footwear.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yep. I love it, man. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I love for us. I love that for us.
Authentic storytelling, y'all. Authentic. That's what we got to turn up the volume and the frequency on if we're gonna, have the balance shift back towards the rules of culture over rules of marketing. So we had to get that off our chest for everybody today. So we'll come back again. We'll be back next time. We will have someone in the living room with us, and we might continue this conversation again.
I love it. I love it.
So what we got to tell them to do, D Wells?
Like, subscribe, leave us a comment. Don't be afraid. We won't bite. If we don't like your comment, we'll just erase the shit anyway. Keep them coming. In the meantime, as always, tell the people that you love them. Keep your laces tight, your tongue loose. Walk good. Peace.